I've been drinking more for the last 5 years. Did you check on me? Good morning, everyone. Good morning, guys. Good morning. It is Wednesday morning, and we are ready for our Bible reading this morning. So I want to say welcome to everybody. Thank you all so much for stopping by. If you are new here, I want to say a very, very special welcome to you. If you're a returning traveler, I want to say thank you for your continued support. Now, yesterday morning, we read several chapters of the book of 2 Samuel. This morning, we are going to be reading from chapters 20 through to the end. And if you were not with us yesterday, let me just give you a little recap of what happened yesterday. So in yesterday's reading, we saw where Absalom, David's son, was determined to overthrow his father. He had gathered his army and was coming back to try to defeat his dad. His dad had run away, left Jerusalem. He left his 10 of his concubines there to keep the house. We saw Absalom going to the house and following the directions, the counsel of Ahithophel, his counselor. He went in and slept with his father's 10 concubines, and Ahithophel continued to be his counselor. Remember now, if you have been following us, Ahithophel was counselor for David before he abandoned David and went to counsel Absalom, David's son. And so David had run away, and his army, they had left Jerusalem, and we saw where they went on to hide out, so to speak. And they realized that Absalom's plans to kill his father was ramping up, but they had no way of knowing what the plans were or how to put in place measures to counteract the plans of Absalom unless they knew what Absalom was planning. And for them to do that, they needed somebody who was going to be able to infiltrate Absalom's camp and sort of act as the mold and just send out the story to them. And so David had sent one of his friends to act as that mole over there in Jerusalem. And as his friend was hearing what Absalom was planning, he had sent on to tell Abishai and the others. Abishai was one of David's closest confederates. And when Abishai and Ahimaaz were hiding, trying to get the news to bring it back to David, Cushi sent someone to tell them the news, and a little boy, saw when Cushai came to tell them what was being planned, and the little boy told it to Absalom, and Absalom was really angry, and he took off to go after Abishai and Cushi, and Abishai and Ahimaaz, and they hid in somebody's well. That was a clever part of the story right there. And Absalom came looking for them. The woman at the well didn't tell them that the men were hiding inside of the well. And so they couldn't find the men, and they went back. Now, David learned what Absalom's plans were. And in the end, long story short, David continued to cry and beg God to protect Absalom, even though Absalom was determined to kill him. But as a parent, he continued to ask God to protect Absalom and not to make anything bad happen to him, because David knew that the people who were loyal to him were very angry that Absalom was trying to kill him. And so those people who were loyal to David would have taken out Absalom any minute, but not against David's wishes. And David didn't wish for his son to die. But in the end, after Absalom was coming after David riding a mule, he got hung up in an oak tree. So, you're riding through the woods on this horse, and you're not paying attention to your height in regards to the trees and the branches that you have to go under. And so at one point, one of these branches caught Absalom and sort of hung him up in the tree. And that was when Joab and the others eventually killed Absalom. And the news went to David that Absalom was dead. And David wept. And David cried. And the people who were with him were very upset, because they said, look at you crying over the death of your son when he was ready to kill you. And we have been here protecting you from him, but you have the audacity to be crying for him. They were not happy. So today we are going to continue the reading, because we want to know what happened after Absalom's death and David returned to Jerusalem. So if you have your book Bible or your Google Bible, come along with us and let us read together. 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel chapter 20. Second Samuel chapter 20. And there happened to be there a man of Belial, whose name was Sheba, the son of Bichri, a Benjaminite. And he blew a trumpet and said, we have no part in David, neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to his tents, O Israel. So every man of Israel went up from after David and followed Sheba, the son of Bichri. But the men of Judah clave unto their king from Jordan even to Jerusalem. And David came to his house at Jerusalem, and the king took the 10 women, his concubines, whom he had left to keep the house, and put them in ward, and fed them, but went not in unto them. So they were shut up unto the day of their death, living in widowhood. Oh my. You all see that, guys? So remember that David had left these 10 concubines to keep his house until he got back, if he ever did. And while he was gone, and Absalom came and took over his palace, Absalom, on the counsel of Ahithophel, went in unto his father's concubines. So he slept with his father's 10 women. And now that David is back, David doesn't want to sleep with them after his son has slept with them. So he sort of put them in a ward. And there they remained for the rest of their lives. Isn't that something? It's been a long time that women have been punished for the misdeeds of men. So because Absalom slept with them, David had nothing to do with them after that. I mean, sexually. And so he just discarded them, basically. Verse 4 said, Then said the king to Amasa, Assemble me the men of Judah within 3 days, and be thou here present. So Amasa went to assemble the men of Judah, but he tarried longer than the set time which he had appointed him. And David said to Abishai, now remember, Abishai is one of David's closest confidants. And David said to Abishai, Now shall Sheba the son of Bichri do us more harm than did Absalom? Take thou thy Lord's servants, and pursue after him, lest he get in fenced cities and escape us. And there went out after him Joab's men, and the Cherethites, and the Pelethites, and all the mighty men, and they went out of Jerusalem to pursue after Sheba the son of Bichri. When they were at the great stone which is in Gibeon, Amasa went before them, and Joab's garment that he had put on was girded unto him, and upon it a girdle with a sword fastened upon his loins in the sheath thereof. And as he went forth, it fell out. All right, let us read that part again. Now, so far we see where Sheba is now another king as rose up in. He has risen up in Jerusalem, and he is calling all the men to come follow him. The same things we see happen now. Another politician establishes themselves, and they try to get followers. And they try to get the people who are following the existing politicians to come to their side. So is the case with Sheba right here. And so it's now Sheba against David. And verse 7 says, And there went out after him Joab's men, and the Cherethites, and the Pelethites, and all the mighty men, and they went out of Jerusalem to pursue after Sheba the son of Bichri. When they were at the great stone which is in Gibeon, Amasa went before them, and Joab's garment that he had put on was girded up unto him, and upon it a girdle with a sword fastened upon his loins in the sheath thereof. And as he went forth, it fell out. So Joab's sword fell out. I'm not sure of the significance of that, but I'm sure the Bible will continue. It will tell us later on. Verse 9 said, And Joab said to Amasa, Art thou in health, my brother? So Joab said to Amasa, Art thou in health, my brother? And Joab took Amasa by the beard with the right hand to kiss him. Let us continue. Welcome, guys. Thank you all so much for coming. I sincerely appreciate you all. We are here reading the book of 2 Samuel. So follow with us in your book Bible or your Google Bible. I'm reading from the King James Version, actually, because I know a lot of people say, what version you're reading from? Because it might differ. The wording might differ. So let us read verse 8 again. Welcome, Sister Winsome. How are you doing? When they were at the great stone, which is in Gibeon, Amasa went before them, and Joab's garment that he had put on was girded unto him, and upon it a girdle with a sword fastened upon his loins in the sheath thereof. And as he went forth, it fell out. And Joab said to Amasa, Art thou in health, my brother? Joab asking Amasa, Are you okay? And Joab took Amasa by the beard with the right hand to kiss him. But Amasa took no heed to the sword that was in Joab's hand. So he smote him therein in the fifth rib, and shed out his bowels to the ground, and struck him not again, and he died. So Joab and Abishai his brother pursued after Sheba, the son of Bichri. So I'm not sure why Joab killed Amasa. I'm not sure, but I'm sure the Bible will explain to us why this happened. Because I don't remember who was Amasa in. Let us go back to read verse 4. Then the king said to Amasa, assemble me the men of Judah within 3 days, and be thou here present. So Amasa went to assemble the men of Judah, but he tarried longer than he set time. Okay, so David sent out Amasa. Now I'm getting it. So David sent out Amasa to find out what Bichri was doing. But Amasa didn't come back in time. So David sent Abishai and Joab to find out why Amasa is taking so long to come back. But instead of just going, they ended up killing him. Did they think that he was deceiving David? I think that is the case. But we're gonna read this again, because we want to make sure that we understand it as it is written. 2 Samuel chapter 20. Let's begin again. And there happened to be there a man of Belial, whose name was Sheba, the son of Bichri, a Benjaminite. And he blew a trumpet and said, we have no part in David. Okay, so here is Sheba is saying he ain't got nothing to do with David. Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to his tent. So Israel, here, when Sheba is saying they have no part with David and they have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. Now remember, if Sheba is a Benjaminite, that means he's related to Saul. Right? Because remember, Saul was a Benjaminite, and his descendants are Benjaminites as well. So here is Sheba saying that they don't have any inheritance. David is not going to give them anything because they are Benjaminites. But David had already given Saul's inheritance to Mephibosheth. You'll remember that in the previous chapters, David gave Saul's inheritance to Mephibosheth, that was Saul's grandson, who was the only child of Jonathan, who was Saul's son. And he had that servant, Kiba was his name. He had that servant taking care of the fields. It's of Saul's fields. This was being taken care of by the only servant that Saul had left. And he was working the fields and feeding Mephibosheth while Mephibosheth lived with David. He and his men were working the fields. So it's like Saul's inheritance was given to Mephibosheth and Kiva. All right, let us continue. So here is Sheba saying, there's nothing for us to have. There's nothing else for us to get. He's not giving us anything. So we're not going to stay here. We're not going to support him. So every man of Israel went up from after David and followed Sheba, the son of Bichri. But the men of Judah clave unto their king from Jordan even to Jerusalem. So the men of Judah stayed with David, but the men of Israel went with Sheba. And David came to his house at Jerusalem, and the king took the 10 women, his concubines, whom he had left to keep the house, and put them in ward, and fed them, but went not in unto them. So they were shut up unto the day of their death, living in widowhood. Then said the king to Amasa, assemble me the men of Judah within 3 days, and be thou here present. So here David sent Amasa to go gather up the men of Judah and bring them to him. Let's see what Amasa did after that. So Amasa went to assemble the men of Judah, but he tarried longer than the set time which he had appointed him. And David said to Abishai, now shall Sheba, the son of Bichri, do us more harm than did Absalom? Take thou thy Lord's servants, and pursue after him, lest he get him fenced cities and escape us. So here David is sending Abishai to go and get Sheba. Yeah, go get him, because he might be more wicked to us than Absalom was. So you better go get him before he gets us. And there went out after him Joab's men, and the Cherethites, and the Pelethites, and all the mighty men. And they went out to Jerusalem to pursue after Sheba, the son of Bichri. When they were at the great stone which is in Gibeon, Amasa went before them. Or they saw Amasa in front of them, and Joab's garment that he had put on was girded unto him, and upon it a girdle with a sword fastened upon his loins in the sheath thereof. And as he went forth, it fell out. And Joab said to Amasa, art thou in health, my brother? Meaning, are you okay? Are you okay, my brother? And Joab took Amasa by the beard with the right hand to kiss him. But Amasa took no heed to the sword that was in Joab's hand. So he smote him therewith in the 5th rib, and shed out his bowels to the ground, and struck him not again, and he died. So Joab and Abishai his brother pursued after Sheba, the son of Bichri. But I still don't understand, why did he have to kill Amasa? He asked Amasa if he was well. So was Amasa taking too long to catch up with Sheba? Was he going too slowly? Was something wrong with him? Because Joab asked him if he was well. Let's continue. Verse 11. And one of Joab's men stood by him and said, he that favoreth Joab, and he that is for David, let him go after Joab. And Amasa wallowed in blood in the midst. Oh my God. And Amasa wallowed in blood in the midst of the highway. And when the man saw that all the people stood still, he removed Amasa out of the highway into the field, and cast a cloth upon him, when he saw that everyone that came by him stood still. When he was removed out of the highway, all the people went on after Joab to pursue after Sheba, the son of Bichri. I still don't understand why Joab killed Amasa. but we will continue. And he went through all the tribes of Israel unto Abel and to Beth-Maachah and all the Berites, and they were gathered together and went also after him. So it's like they're traveling after Sheba, and as they go along, everybody who is in agreement with them is joining in the pursuit. And they came and besieged him in Abel of Beth-Maachah, and they cast up a bank against the city, and it stood in the trench, and all the people that were with Joab battered the wall to throw it down. Then cried a wise woman out of the city, Hear, hear, say, I pray you, unto Joab, Come near hither, that I may speak with thee. And when he was come near unto her, the woman said, Art thou Joab? And he answered, I am he. Then she said unto him, Hear my words of thine handmaid. And he answered, I do hear. Then she spake again, saying, They were wont to speak in old time, saying, They shall surely ask counsel at Abel. And so they ended the matter. I am one of them that are peaceable and faithful in Israel. Thou seekest to destroy a city and a mother in Israel. Why wilt thou swallow up the inheritance of the Lord? And Joab answered and said, Far be it from me that I should swallow up or destroy. The matter is not so, but a man of Mount Ephraim, Sheba, the son of Bichri by name, hath lifted up his hand against the king, even against David. Deliver him only, and I will depart from the city. And the woman said unto Joab, Behold, his head shall be thrown to thee over the wall. Then the woman went unto all the people in her wisdom, and they cut off the head of Sheba, the son of Bichri, and cast it out to Joab. Jesus, mighty God of Daniel. And he blew a trumpet, and they retired from the city, every man to his tent. And Joab returned to Jerusalem unto the king. Now Joab was over all the host of Israel, and Benaiah, the son of Jehonada, was over the Cherethites, and over the Pelethites. And Adoram was over the tribute, and Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was recorder. Verse 25, and this is the last verse of chapter 20. And Shiva was scribe, and Zadok and Abiathar were the priests. And Ira also the Jaretite was a chief ruler about David. So here we see Sheba rose up against David. He sort of formed his own little political party, and he had caused a division in the kingdom because there are people following him and some who had decided to stay with David. And so David sent his faithful foot soldiers after Sheba. His faithful foot soldiers after Sheba. First he sent Amazah, and Amazah took too long. He took too long to come back with word to David. And so David sent Joab and Abishai after him. And when they caught up with Amasa, they slew him. Joab slew him. And it makes me wonder whether Amasa was never going to come back. He had switched allegiance and was going to be following Sheba rather than finding out what Sheba was up to and then coming back. So Amasa was maybe a traitor. I'm not sure because the Bible didn't say so. But one thing we know is that he didn't come back when he was expected to. And Joab slew him. So let's move on to chapter 21. Whoa, I hurt my foot. Let's move on to chapter 21 of the book of 2 Samuel. Then there was a famine in the days of David 3 years, year after year, and David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered, "It is for Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites." And the king called the Gibeonites and said unto them, "Now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites." And remember, the Amorites were hated. Remember, the Amorites and the children of Israel were always enemies. And the children of Israel had sworn unto them, and Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah. Verse 3, Wherefore David said unto the Gibeonites, What shall I do for you? And wherewith shall I make the atonement, that he may bless the inheritance of the Lord? And the Gibeonites said unto him, We will have no silver nor gold of Saul, nor of his house, neither for us shalt thou kill any man in Israel. And he said, What he shall say, that will I do for you. Okay, so here there was a famine, 3 years of famine. And David went to the Lord to find out, Lord, why is there this famine? What is going on? What have we done wrong? And the Lord said to him, This famine is punishment. It's punishment for the behavior of Saul and his rampant war and bloodletting for the Gibeonites that he had slain. And so David called up the Gibeonites and said, Listen, I want to know, what can I do? What can I do to make peace with you? What can I do to make you all feel better? I know Saul had done you a great wickedness, and he had slain a lot of you, but I am here now. How can I recompense you for what Saul had done? And the people say, listen, we don't want nothing to do with anything of Saul. We don't want his gold. We don't want his silver. We want nothing to do with him. Verse 4, And the Gibeonites said unto him, We will have no silver nor gold of Saul, nor of his house, neither for us shalt thou kill any man. They said, David, we don't want you, even if there is somebody who is our enemy. We don't want you to kill them for us. We don't want your intervention. Period. We don't want it. And the Gibeonites said unto him, We will have no silver nor gold of Saul, nor of his house, neither for us shalt thou kill any man in Israel. And he said, What he shall say, that will I do. So David has agreed with them. If that's what you want, then that's what I will do. And they answered the king, The man that consumed us, and that devised against us, that we should be destroyed from remaining in any of the coast of Israel. Let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us, and we will hang them up unto the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord did choose. And the king said, I will give them. Wow. Wow. You hear that, guys? So David inquired of the Gibeonites, What can I do for you? Because there was such great famine, 3 whole years of famine. And this famine was rampant in the whole place. So David inquired of the Lord, Lord, why is this happening? Because, each time there was a disaster, it was attributed to something wrong that they had done. And this was their punishment from God. And so David inquired of God, why is this famine going on? What have we done wrong? And he said, well, it is for the activities of Saul before he died. He had slain so many Gibeonites. This now is the punishment for that. So David, wanting the famine to end, he went to make peace with the Gibeonites. And he said, listen, Saul is not here. I am here now. What can I do for you? They said, we don't want no silver nor gold that belong to Saul. That's from Saul. We don't want nothing. We don't want silver, gold. We don't want money. We don't want nothing. And we do not want you to kill anybody in our name. No, we don't want that. So go on about your business and leave us alone. The only thing you can do for us right now would be to give us 7 of Saul's sons. That means 7 descendants of Saul. Give us just 7. I'm not sure why 7 is a significant number. He said, give us 7 of Saul's sons so that we can hang them. You can imagine you go to somebody and say, give us 7 of your people so we can hang them. Verse 6 says, let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us, and we will hang them up unto the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord did choose. And the king said, I will give them. But the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because of the Lord's oath that was between them, between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul. Okay, so he spared Mephibosheth. But the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Ahijah, whom she bare unto Saul. I think Rizpah was one of Saul's handmaids, right? But the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Ahijah, whom she bare unto Saul. Armoni and Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul. Okay. So Michal did have children, whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Meholathite. Hold on now, people. Verse 8 said, but the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Ahijah, whom she bare unto Saul, Armoni and Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai. Oh, so she brought them up, but she didn't have them. Okay, she brought them up, because I remember we read behind, let me tell you, we read that Michal, God, catch me up here, because I think yesterday we read that Michal did not have any children. I thought we read that yesterday. Ecod, do you remember? Hold on, let me look it up. Let me look here in if Google has it quicker. Let me see here. The punishment. Okay. So Michal had no children until her dying day. I knew I read that yesterday. It said she had no children until her dying day. I think we read that yesterday, but I want to go right back in and find it. The yesterday or the day before. I'm gonna find it. I know it was at the end of a chapter. At the end of chapter 6, it said, "Therefore Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no children unto the day of her death." Right, so she had no children. So here it says that she raised up these children, but they weren't hers. She just raised them. Verse 11. No, I think I'm gone too far now. Okay, so here it says, verse 8 says, "The king took the two sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Ahiah, whom she bare unto Saul, Armoni and Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Meholathite." Okay. "And he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the hill before the Lord, and they fell all 7 together, and were put to death in the days of harvest, in the 5 days, in the beginning of barley harvest." Wow. "And Rizpah," so that was the 5 sons there that Michal raised, and the other the two sons of Rizpah. That's 5 and 2 make 7. "And Rizpah, the daughter of Ahiah, took sackcloth and spread it for her upon the rock from the beginning of harvest until water dropped upon them out of heaven, and suffered neither the birds of the air to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night." Oh my God, she was in such distress, having lost her sons in that way. "And it was told David that Rizpah, the daughter of Ahiah, the concubine of Saul," I remember she was a concubine of Saul, "had done. And David went and took the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from the men of Jabesh Gilead, which had stolen them from the street of Bethshan, where the Philistines had hanged them, when the Philistines had slain Saul in Gibeah." I didn't know that. I thought they said that David and his men had taken Saul's bones and burnt them and buried them. So how comes now they are going to take bones again? You all remember that? That David and his men had gone down into into Philistine, and retrieved the bones, the bodies of Saul, and they burnt them and then buried the bones. So here now in verse 11, "And it was told to David that Rizpah, the daughter of Ahiah, the concubine of Saul, had done," that she was crying and she was in sackcloth and she was out in the fields. "And David went and took the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from the men in Jabesh Gilead, which had stolen them from the street of Bethshan, where the Philistines had hanged them, when the Philistines had slain Saul in Gilboa." But the Philistines didn't slay Saul. They didn't slay him. Saul slew himself. "And he brought up from thence the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son, and they gathered the bones of them that were hanged." And the bones of Saul and Jonathan, his son, buried they in the country of Benjamin in Zelah, in the sepulchre of Kish, his father. And they performed all that the king commanded. And after that, God was entreated for the land. So you see, for them to get back God on their side, what they had to do, they had to do human sacrifice. They had to do human sacrifice. Wow. Who would want to live like that today? Who would want to have to do human sacrifice today? Who would? No. Not I. So here, David sent to get Saul's bones or Jonathan's bones and bury them with these seven people who the Gideonites had asked for to hang them so that they may get back in God's good graces. It's still, hey, didn't it happen in Montego Bay 2 years ago? Where they were sacrificing people? Verse 15. Moreover, the Philistines had yet war again with Israel, and David went down, and his servants with him, and fought against the Philistines, and David waxed faint. So I guess David by this time is getting old. And Ishbi-benob, which was of the sons of the giant, the weight of whose spear weighed 300 shekels of brass in weight, he being girded with a new sword, thought to have slain David. Really? Ishbi-benob, with a sword that weighs 300 shekels, thought to have slain David. But Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, succored him and smote the Philistine and killed him. Then the men of David swore unto him, saying, Thou shalt go no more out with us to battle, that thou quench not the life of Israel. So here they are telling David is kind of weak now. David can't go out with them to battle anymore. David kind of weak. He's getting old. It's been years now he's been fighting. And it came to pass after this that there was again a battle with the Philistines at Gob. Then Sibbecai the Hushathite slew Saph, which was of the sons of the giant. And there was again a battle in Gob with the Philistines, where Elhanahan, the son of Jai-oregim, a Bethlehemite, slew the brother of Goliath the Gittite, the staff of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. And there was yet a battle in Gath, where was a man of great stature that had on every hand 6 fingers, and on every foot 6 toes, 24 in number. And he also was born to the giant. And when he defied Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shemiah, the brother of David, slew him. I like how the Bible explained to you which Jonathan they're talking about, so that people don't misconstrue it because they hear the name Jonathan. They don't think that it is the Jonathan who was David's friend. Now this new Jonathan that the story is talking about is not Saul's son. This is David's nephew. Okay? Because David's brother Shemaiah is the father of this Jonathan, and this Jonathan is very loyal to his uncle David. All right? Hold on there, guys. Hold on. All right. Okay, let us continue. Now we are on to chapter 22 of the book of Samuel. And the book of Samuel actually has 24 chapters, and we're going to read them all this morning. Chapter 22. And David spake unto the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord had delivered him out of the hand of all his enemies and out of the hand of Saul. And he said, The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. The God of my rock, in him will I trust. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation, my high tower and my refuge, my Saviour, thou savest me from violence. I will call on the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from mine enemies. When the waves of death compassed me, the floods of ungodly men make me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about, the snares of death prevented me. In my distress I called upon the Lord and cried to my God, and he did hear my voice out of his temple, and my cry did enter into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled, and foundations of heaven moved and shook, because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub, and did fly, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind. And he made darkness pavilions round about him, dark waters, and thick clouds of the skies. Through the brightness before him were coals and fire kindled. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice. And he sent out arrows, and scattered them, lightning, and discomfited them. And the channels of the sea appeared. The foundations of the world were discovered at the rebuking of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils. He sent from above. He took me. He drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy and from them that hated me, for they were too strong for me. They prevented me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my stay. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me, because he delighted in me. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands, as he recompensed me. David's hands were clean? Really? I guess not by my standards, but I guess by his Lord's standards. Verse 22, For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and I have not wickedly departed from the Lord. For all his judgments were before me, and as for his statutes, I did not depart from them. I was also upright before him, and have kept myself from mine iniquity. Therefore, the Lord hath recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness in his eyesight. With the merciful, thou wilt show thyself mercy, and with the upright man, thou wilt shew thyself upright. With the poor, thou wilt shew thyself pure, and with the froward, thou wilt show thyself unsavory. And the afflicted people thou wilt save, but thine eyes are upon the haughty, that thou mayest bring them down. For thou art my lamp, O Lord, and the Lord will lighten my darkness. For by thee I have run through a troop. By my God have I leapt over a wall. As for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried. He is a buckler to all them that trust him. For who is God? Save the Lord. And who is a rock? Save our God. God is my strength and power, and he makes my way perfect. He makes my feet like hinds' feet, and sets me upon my high places. He teaches my hands to war, so that a bow of steel is broken by my arms. Thou hast also given me the shield of my salvation, and thy gentleness hath made me great. Thou hast enlarged my steps under me, so that my feet did not slip. I have pursued mine enemies and destroyed them, and turned not again until I had consumed them. And I have consumed them and wounded them, that they could not arise. Yea, they are fallen under my feet. For thou hast girded me with strength to battle. Them that rose up against me hast thou subdued under me. Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. They looked, but there was none to save, even unto the Lord, but he answered them not. Then did I beat them as small as the dust of the earth. I did stamp them as the mire of the street, and did spread them abroad. Now this is David praying. This is David's prayer. He's talking about all that he has done, his life, and how he has been favored by God, and all that God has done for him. Helped him to overcome his enemies, helped him to be strong when he felt like he was weak, and so forth and so on. So this that I'm reading here in chapter 22 is actually David sort of reliving his life, saying all the things that he believed he had accomplished because of the Lord's grace and goodness, because the Lord had found pleasure in him. Let us continue. Verse 44. Thou also hast delivered me from the strivings of my people. Thou hast kept me to be head of the heathen. A people which I knew shall not serve me. Strangers shall submit themselves unto me. As soon as they hear, they shall be obedient unto me. Strangers shall fade away, and they shall be afraid out of their close places. The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and exalted be the God of the rock of my salvation. It is God that avenged me, and that bringeth down the people under me, and that brings me forth from mine enemies. Thou also hast lifted me up on high above them that rose up against me. Thou hast delivered me from the violent man. Therefore I will give thanks unto thee, O Lord, among the heathen, and I will sing praises unto thy name. He is the tower of salvation for his king, and shows mercy to his anointed, unto David and to his seed forevermore. That's David's prayer to the Lord. Now we are moving on to chapter 23. But hold on a second there, my friends. Let me put this iPad to charge. This iPad has been running. This iPad has been running, my friend. Mixing for the last day. There we go. All right. iPad yesterday one run, and let us continue here. We are on to chapter 23. If you are following me in your book Bible or your Google Bible, I hope you all are enjoying the reading as much as I am. enjoying reading for us. All right. Chapter 23. Now these be the last days of David. David the son of Jesse said, and the man who was raised up on high, the anointed of the God of Jacob, and the sweet psalmist of Israel said, the Spirit of the Lord spake by me, and his words was in my tongue. The God of Israel said, the Rock of Israel spake to me. He that ruleth over men must be just, ruling in the fear of God. And he shall be as the light of the morning, when the sun riseth, even a morning without clouds, as the tender grass springing out of the earth by clear shining after rain. Although my house be not so with God, yet he hath made with me an everlasting covenant, ordered in all things and sure, for this is all my salvation and all my desire, although he make it not to grow. But the sons of Belial shall be all of them as thorns thrust away, because they cannot be taken with hands. But the man that shall touch them must be fenced with iron and the staff of a spear, and they shall be utterly burnt with fire in the same place. These be the names of the mighty men whom David had. The Tachmonite that sat in the seat, chief among the captains, the same was Adino the Eznite. He lifted up his spear against 800, whom he slew at one time. Wow, this must be another Samson. Let's read that again, verse 8. These be the names of the mighty men whom David had. The Tachmonite that sat in the seat, chief among the captains. The name was Adino the Eznite. He lifted up his spear against 800, whom he slew at one time. Wow. And after him was Eleazar, the son of Dodo, the Ahohite, one of the three mighty men with David. When they defied the Philistines that were there gathered together to battle, and the men of Israel were gone away, he arose and smote the Philistines until his hand was weary, and his hand clave unto the sword. And the Lord wrought a great victory that day, and the people returned after him only to spoil. Wow. So when the people came back, there weren't any people left. There weren't any humans left, just stuff. And after him was Shammah, the son of Agi the Hararite, and the Philistines were gathered together into a troop, where was a piece of ground full of lentils, and the people fled from the Philistines. But he stood in the midst of the ground, and defended it, and slew the Philistines, and the Lord wrought a great victory. And 3 of the 30 chief went down, and came to David in the harvest time unto the cave of Adullam. And the troop of the Philistines pitched in the valley of Rephaim. And David was then in an hold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. And David longed and said, Oh, that one would give me drink of the water of the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate. And the 3 mighty men brake through the host of the Philistines, and drew water out of the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David. So here David wanted water out of the well at Bethlehem, but how was he going to get it when the Philistines had set up their garrison right there in Bethlehem? How was he going to get it? But he told his footmen, they were very strong men, that this is what he wanted. He wanted the water out of the well at Bethlehem. And so they went. The three mighty men, they broke through all the Philistines and drew the water from the well of Bethlehem and was by the gate. That was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David. Nevertheless, he would not drink thereof, but poured it out unto the Lord. And he said, Be it far from me, O Lord, that I should do this. Is not this the blood of the men that went in jeopardy of their lives? Therefore, he would not drink it. These things did these three mighty men. Okay, so David didn't drink the water. His men were brave enough and strong enough to go out and try to get the water for him. When some men who are loyal to their king, to their master, when David says he wants something, these men are going to get it for him. So here he said he wanted the water out of the well at Bethlehem. But even though the Philistines, who they feared, had set up garrison there, these three brave men decided that they were going to get it. They were going to get the water for David. They went and got the water for him, but he didn't drink it. He threw it down, poured it out unto the Lord. Verse 18, and Abishai, the brother of Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was chief among three, and he lifted up his spear against 300 and slew them, and had the name among three. Abishai was a really fierce warrior. Abishai was really fierce, and he would defend David with his life. You remember when in yesterday's reading, when Shimei was cursing David like a dog and throwing stones at David? Abishai was the one who stood up and said, David, King, just give me permission to go over there and take his head off. David said, no, not at all. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that. And here, he alone slew 300 men. Verse 19, was he not most honorable of the three? Therefore, he was their captain. Howbeit he attained not unto the first three. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, the son of a valiant man of Kabzeel, who had done many acts, he slew 2 lion-like men of Moab. Why do they describe them as lion-like? He went down also and slew a lion in the midst of a pit in time of snow. So here we find 2 people who have slain lions in the Bible. The only person I've ever heard of slaying a lion is Samson. But now here is somebody else. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, as the son of a valiant man of Kabzeel, who had done many acts. He slew 2 lion-like men of Moab. He went down also and slew a lion in the midst of the pit in the time of snow. So now we know that Samson wasn't the only one who slew a lion. These men were really strong. Benaiah also slew a lion. That's Benaiah. He also slew a lion. Gay, what's up? How you doing, my love? So good to see you. Verse 21. And he slew an Egyptian, a godly man. And the Egyptian had a spear in his hand, but he went down to him with a staff. and plucked the spear out of the Egyptian's hand, and slew him with his own spear. These things did Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and had the name among 3 mighty men. So they are telling us about these 3 mighty men who were with David. There was Abishai, Abishai. There is Abishai, and now they are talking about Benaiah, Benaiah, and I guess they're going to next tell us about the third person. God said, David had killed a lion and a bear. Oh, really? Hold on. Did he? Hold on there. I didn't remember that part, but thanks for the reminder. Let me ask Google so I can find it in the Bible and verify it. David explains to King Saul that by the grace of God, he had killed a lion and a bear that were attempting to have lamb chops for dinner. But then not give me where in the Bible that is. I wanted to see it in the 1 Samuel 17. Let's go back over there, guys, to 1 Samuel 17. This is 1 Samuel. Okay, we are on to 1 Samuel 17. We're going to check this out. And verse 34. 1 Samuel 17 and verse 34. And David said unto Saul, Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. Verse 35. And I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. Okay. All right. So my bad. Thank you, God. You see why I can't do without you? So now we have Beriah having slain a lion, David slew a lion and a bear, and Samson slew a lion. All right. Let us continue. We are on to the book of 2 Samuel chapter 23, gentle people, if you are following along. We are going to read now verse 21 again. And he slew an Egyptian, a goodly man, and the Egyptian had a spear in his hand. But he went down to him with a staff, and plucked the spear out of the Egyptian's hand, and slew him with his own spear. These things did Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and had the name among 3 mighty men. He was more honorable than the 30, but he attained not to the first 3. And David set him over his guard. Asahel, the brother of Joab, was one of the 30. Elhanan, the son of Dodo of Bethlehem. Shammah, the Harodite. Elika, the Harodite. Elez, the Paltite. Ira, the son of Ikesh, the Tekoite. Ebezer, the Anoethite. Mebunai, the Heshutite. Zaman, the Hawhite. Maharai, the Nephthalite. Heleb, the son of Banah, a Nephathite, Ittai, the son of Ribai, out of Gibeah of the children of Benjamin. Benaiah, the Pirathonite, Hiddai of the brooks of Gash. Abiaban, the Arabathite, Armaveth, and Bethlehemite. Eliahaba, the Shalbonite of the sons of Jashen, Jonathan. So these are the 30 men. It is sort of telling us about the 30 valiant men who David had chosen, and from these 30 men, he had chosen 3 that he considered to be most valiant. Shammah the Hararite, Ahiam the son of Shara the Hararite, Eliphelet the son of Ahashabai, the son of Machethite, Eliahim the son of Ahithophel the Gilonite. Remember Ahithophel? Ahithophel was the counsel to David, and he had abandoned David and went to counsel Absalom. Here they are talking about Eliam. Eliam, his son, continued to serve David. And Ezrai, the Carmelite, Parai, the Arbite, Igal, the son of Nathan of Zeboah, Banai, the Gadite, Zelek, the Ammonite, Naharai, the Beerothite, armor bearer to Joab, the son of Zeruiah, Ira, an Ithrite, Gareb, an Ithrite, Uriah, the Hittite, 37 in all. Let's now read chapter 24, which is the last chapter in the book of 2 Samuel. I hope you all are enjoying the reading so far as much as I have been enjoying the reading. If you are new here, if you have not yet hit that subscribe button, now is a good time to do so. And if you have not yet hit that like button this morning, now is a good time to do so. Okay, let us continue. Chapter 24. And again, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, "Go, number Israel and Judah." So he's sending David, go and go count them. Go and go count them. My anger is wroth against them. And the king said to Joab, the captain of the host, which was with him, "Go now through all the tribes of Israel, from Dan even to Beersheba, and number ye the people, that I may know the number of the people." So he's sending him now to go collect census. And Joab said unto the king, "Now the Lord thy God add unto the people, how many soever they be, 100-fold, and that the eyes of the Lord the king may see it. But why doth my lord the king delight in this thing?" Notwithstanding, the king's word prevailed against Joab and against the host, the captains of the host. And Joab and the captains of the host went out from the presence of the king to number the people of Israel. God said, why Uriah the Hittite was considered one of them. Remember, Uriah was a great warrior, if I remember correctly what I had read. He said Uriah was a great warrior. But David had sent to ask Joab to put Uriah in the front of the battle, only because David wanted his Uriah's wife. So I guess he still considered Uriah to be a great asset to his command, but just for the love of woman. We saw what David did to Uriah. But here he's sort of paying homage to him to say, he was indeed one of the great fighters. Or maybe a shame in shame, so I'm just adding Uriah. I'm not sure. What do you think, Cad? What do you think? Because based on what I have read, I think he's really honoring Uriah for having been a strong man, having been a great warrior, despite what he had done. Despite what he had done to Uriah, he's still acknowledging that Uriah was indeed a brave man and a valiant warrior. Let's continue. Verse 5. And they passed over Jordan and pitched in Aurora, on the right side of the city that lies in the midst of the river of God, and towards Jazer. Then they came to Gilead and to the land of Tatim Hodshi, and they came to Danjan and about to the Zon, and came to the stronghold of Tyre, and to all the cities of the Hivites and of the Canaanites, and they went out to the south of Judah, even to Beersheba. So when they had gone through all the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. And Joab gave up the sum of the number of people unto the king, and there were in Israel 800,000 valiant men that drew the sword, and the men of Judah were 500,000 men. So 500,000 plus 800,000, that's 1.3 million. Was he naming in the great warriors? Well, verse 39, it says Uriah the Hittite. He made up the 37. He was among the men that David was recognizing. So he's recognizing these men as great contributors to his to the 37 men that he revered. So I guess, what do you think? Do you have a different thought about it? Verse 10. And David's heart smote him after he had numbered the people. And David said unto the Lord, I have sinned greatly in what I have done. And now I beseech thee, O Lord, take away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly. For when David was up in the morning, the word of the Lord came unto the prophet Gad, David's seer, saying, Go and say unto David, Thus saith the Lord, I offer thee 3 things, choose thee one of them, that I may do it unto thee. Okay, so here, I don't know if you all have remembered when you have been told the story of David. He had asked the Lord for 3 things. Let us read this again. For when David was up in the morning, the word of the Lord came unto the prophet Gad, David's seer. So God, G-A-D, God, was David's seer. That's the person who David went to foretell stuff for him. So God was David's seer. And he came to David and said, Go and say, the Lord said to God, Go and say unto David, Thus saith the Lord, I offer thee 3 things, choose one of them, that I may do it unto thee. So God came to David and told him, and said unto him, Shall 7 years of famine come unto thee in thy land? Or wilt thou flee 3 months behind thine enemies, while they pursue thee? Or that there be 3 days pestilence in the land? Now advise and see what answer I shall return to him that sent me. Oh my God. None of these actions seems to be something that anybody would want to choose. Would you want to choose 7 years of famine? Will you, or do you want to be running from your enemies for 3 months? Or do you want 3 days of pestilence in the land? Which one would you choose, guys? That's 3 of the worst choices you could ever get. That's 3 of the worst choices. Pestilence, famine, or running from the enemy? Which? This is what the Lord has sent God to ask David. You have 1 choice out of 3. And here are your 3 choices. Famine on the land for 7 years. You running from your enemies for 3 months. Or 3 days of pestilence on the land. Let's continue reading. Let's see what David chose. And David said unto God, now not G-O-D, G-A-D. God, G-A-D is the seer, David's seer. All right. And David said unto God, I am in a great strait. Let us fall now into the hand of the Lord, for his mercies are great, and let me not fall into the hand of man. So he don't want the one with the enemies at all. So the Lord sent a pestilence. The Lord sent a pestilence upon Israel from the morning even to the time appointed, and there died of the people from Dan even to Beersheba 70,000 men. So 70,000 men died from this pestilence over the 3 days. That's the one you would choose to call the pestilence. Well, that's what David chose. And when the angel stretched out his hand upon Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord repented him of the evil and said to the angel that destroyed the people, It is enough. Stay now thine hand. And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing place of Araunah, by the threshing place of Araunah the Jebusite. And David spake unto the Lord when he saw the angel that smote the people, and said, Lo, I have sinned, and I have done wickedly. But these sheep, what have they done? Let thine hand, I pray thee, be against me, and against my father's house. And God came that day to David, and said unto him, Go up, rear an altar unto the Lord in the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. And David, according to the saying of God, went up as the Lord commanded. And Araunah looked and saw the king and his servants coming towards him. And Araunah went out and bowed himself before the king on his face upon the ground. And Araunah said, Wherefore is my lord the king come to his servant? And David said, To buy the threshing floor of thee, to build an altar unto the Lord, that the plague may be stayed from the people. And Araunah said unto David, Let my lord the king take and offer up what seemeth good unto him. Behold, here be oxen for burnt sacrifice, and the threshing instruments, and other instruments of the oxen for wood. All these things did Araunah as a king give unto the Lord. And Araunah said unto the king, The Lord thy God accept thee. And the king said unto Araunah, Nay, but I will surely buy it of thee at a price. Neither will I offer burnt offerings unto the Lord my God of that which doth cost me nothing. So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. So David, he bought the oxen and the wood. He bought the oxen and the wood from Araunah for 50 shekels of silver. And this is what he's going to use to build this altar for the Lord. We are moving on to verse 25, and this is the last verse of chapter 24 of the book of 2 Samuel. And David built there an altar unto the Lord, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. So the Lord was entreated for the land, and the plague was stayed off Israel. So this is what David had to do to get rid of the plague. The plague took out 70,000 men, because the plague was David's choice. Imagine you getting those three choices, and you have to choose the best one out of the three. None of them is good, because you don't want famine on the land for 7 years. Everybody gonna die out. You definitely do not want to be running from your enemies for 3 months. Chances are they might catch you. And you definitely don't want pestilence on the people. But you end up having to take that choice, because that seems like the best choice. The choice with the least negative implications. And so that's what David chose. And when the plague came upon the people, and it was taking the lives of many, David had to seek out God again. Lord, tell me, God, not G-O-D, G-A-D. What did the Lord say? Because I cannot have this. Too many people are dying. And so God told him that the Lord said, well, you got to build an altar. But you got to go to Araunah. Go to Araunah to get the threshing floor. And when David went there, Araunah was also giving him an oxen. And he didn't just take the threshing floor. He says, I'll pay for it. I don't even want to just take it for free. I want to pay for it, because I want this pestilence to be removed from my people. And so that's what David did. Now, this is the end of this morning's reading. I want to say I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you who have come into the live, those of you who are following, those of you who are new into the channel. I want to say thanks to every one of you who came in for your continued support. I cannot be more grateful. And even if it's 2 people here or 3 people, it doesn't matter. I am still absolutely grateful for each and every one of you. And I hope you all are following and are getting an understanding of what we are doing here, because we are no theologians. We are just ordinary people trying to understand the Bible on our own. Because we'd rather read it on our own rather than be told by somebody about what is in there. When we haven't read it, we don't know for ourselves. So we are just forced to believe what somebody else tells us rather than reading it for ourselves. We are not into that. And that is why we are reading the Bible for ourselves. Okay? And it has been a good run so far. We are just finishing up the book of 2 Samuel. When we come back, we will be reading from the book of 1 Kings. We'll be reading from the book of 1 Kings tomorrow morning. All right. And that's going to be it from me for today, my friends. Until the next time, I want to say thank you all so much. Card, Winsome, everybody else who came into the live, Gay, and all the other travelers who are always here for the reading. I sincerely appreciate you all. Until next time, my friends, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. See you all later, guys. Gays, have a great day, everyone. Thank you, my love. You do the same. Have yourself a great day, everybody.